Well, in other news, Israeli Defense Forces have released a video of the tunnel in Gaza where 6 hostages, including an American, were murdered. Hamas executed them just before Israeli soldiers arrived to rescue them. Chris Mitchell brings us that story from Jerusalem.
We're going to go down into the tunnel shaft 20 meters below where the hostages were murdered.
Chief IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari described the scene.
They were here in this tunnel in horrific conditions where there is no air to breathe, where you cannot stand. And they survived, but they were murdered by terrorists. This is their blood. This is the blood of Hirsch, Eden, Carmel, Ori, Almog, and Alex. They were heroes, and they were here in this tunnel for weeks or days. We will find out.
Hagari reminded viewers that there are up to 101 hostages still remaining in Hamas hands, with an unknown number still alive. In a videotaped message, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he is doing everything he can to return the hostages and win the war. Israel's hostage envoy, Gal Hirsch, told Bloomberg News Israel has offered Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar safe passage out of Gaza if his terrorist group will give up power there. That could lead to freedom for the rest of the hostages and the end of the war. Meanwhile, Netanyahu is blasting an international criminal court prosecutor after he urged the court this week to immediately issue arrest warrants for Netanyahu and his defense minister for war crimes in Gaza. Netanyahu calling that, quote, pure anti-Semitism for its own sake and moral disgrace of the First Order, saying the court's proceedings are, quote, politically biased. But a different action Tuesday from Switzerland's lower house of parliament, which voted to immediately suspend funding for UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The Swiss Senate must still approve it. The lawmaker behind the legislation told the Jerusalem Post, in UNRWA schools, children are taught to hate Jews and Israel. If terrorism is glorified, anti-Semitism is stoked, and violence is incited in UNRWA schools. Then one should not ask why a cruel act of terror like that of October 7th could have occurred. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, I applaud Switzerland for cutting all UNRWA funding, and I think the United States could do it. President Trump cut UNRWA funding, said we're not going to support this group. What they're doing is educating Palestinian children in hate. They're educating them to destroy Israelis, to kill Jews, and our taxpayer dollars shouldn't go into that. In the first week of Biden's presidency, he restored that funding, and it's just amazing to me that it's still in place. That needs to be job number one. Can we stop funding terrorism, and can we stop it today?